Okay, that was Simple Minds with Up on the Catwalk. Rolling Stones playing Brown Sugar, favourite oldie. And some band called Queen with some record called Radio Gaga.
And Roger Taylor, welcome to Triple M.
Thanks, it's very nice to be here.
Your very own little radio show. We also had a bit of Goons between the Rolling Stones and Simple Minds. You grew up with the Goons, like a lot of people in England.
Well, sort of. I was quite young, you know. But, yeah, I mean, the Goons are sort of a part of English humour, the sort of history of English humour, really, now. I think, and Monty Python and stuff like that was the sort of next Goons, if you know what I mean.
Getting back to Radio Gaga, which we played in that triple play, there's a funny story associated with how that song came about.
Yeah, it was my little boy, really. And
Felix.
Yeah, Felix, that's right, yes. And he just, someone turned on the radio one day and just said, oh, Radio Poo-Poo, which turned into Radio Caca, and which was then turned into Radio Gaga.
Right. And the song is all about...
Well, the song is really all about how the radio affected us as kids. In the band, it was the main media, really, or medium, whatever that is. And it was really the way that we heard music. And, well, I mean, I remember when I was a kid, all we heard was Doris Day. And occasionally, a couple of times a day, they might play an Elvis Presley or a Bill Haley record. And that was what really turned me on to rock and roll. Okay, this is Roger Taylor of Queen here with the Radio Gaga show. This is one of our old hits that was very successful around the world. Another one, Bites the Dust. Right, Roger from Queen here again. That was Big Country with Fields of Fire. Great new band. I think they're coming here soon, so I hope you enjoy them. Beatles with one of my favourite tracks, I Am the Waitress. And
Walrus.
Oh yes, Walrus, yes, I'm sorry. And another one, Rides the Bus, was there at the beginning.
Yeah. Actually, that was the real version. Another one, Bites the Dust. Have you heard the Weird Al Yankovic send-up?
Yeah, Weird Al's is quite it's weird.
He has a send-up at the moment of Michael Jackson's Beat It.
Yes,
which
I heard the video. It's very funny.
Very popular in Sydney and the rest of Australia. We're talking with Roger Taylor from Queen, your very own Radio Gaga show. Now, Roger, you guys toured South America a few years ago.
Yes.
And you played to some massive crowds there, particularly in Argentina.
Yeah, and Brazil, actually, yeah.
What was it like going through the Falklands conflict as a Briton, knowing that you had such a huge following in South America, yet knowing that your country was now at war with those people?
Good question, actually. Well, I mean, I thought that was the most unnecessary, ridiculous war. It seemed like it's so pointless somehow. And the ironical thing was that we'd just been to Argentina, and when the war was at its height, Under Pressure was #1 there, which is it's a good statement on just how stupid wars are in some ways, you know. What
were your thoughts on the South American countries that you visited?
It was, on the whole, it was marvellous. I mean, we had incredible response. That people that couldn't speak a word of English, that only spoke Spanish or Portuguese, were singing all the songs word for word. But Mexico was fairly hellish. It's really disorganised there, and it plays havoc with your bowels. But on the whole, it was marvellous. It was difficult to organise, because they're not really set up yet for a sort of modern rock tour. So we had to do most of the work ourselves.
I heard that Queen were the second biggest act through those countries next to the Pope.
I think that's right, actually, yeah. Somebody told me that, yeah. He's a big act, isn't he? He does do the biggest gigs. Okay, that was Australian Crawl with Reckless. That was a new one on me. And before that, there was one of my very favourite Jackson songs, Can You Feel It? I think I actually prefer that to most of Michael Jackson's solo work. And that kicked off with Crazy Little Thing Called Love from this band called Queen.
You've always been a Jacksons fan, you were saying?
Well, I loved their early stuff, like ABC and all that stuff, and it's great, yeah.
And are you one of the 32 million people on Earth that have a copy of Thriller?
No, I find it pretty boring, actually.
Really? There go the phones again.
Sorry, Michael.
What about the 14-minute video?
He doesn't care. But, what, the video?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. My little boy got so scared I had to rush him out of the room, so I didn't see the end of it. But that's strange enough. I prefer Off the Wall to Thriller, I think.
On the subject of albums, you guys have a pretty hot album yourself at the moment, The Works.
The Wakes.
The
yeah.
Weeks. The Weeks. This new one seems to encompass all the areas that Queen have experimented with over the years, from the heavy rock to the massive harmonies, the funk, the electronic, and also even rockabilly.
Yeah, that was the idea, really. Exactly. You've summed it up in a nutshell.
Well, we can finish the show here then.
Right, bye. But, sorry, I'm back. Just went to Venus for a moment. Yes, we wanted to give people like a mixture of all our previous styles, plus something, a little of something new, and really give them an album the sort of album we thought people wanted to hear from us, as opposed to, say, the last album, which I don't think many people did want to hear. And judging by the record sales and the cover. I think it worked out well. We're very pleased with it.
Getting back to that last album, Hot Space, just before that you did a bit of work with David Bowie and Under Pressure. Came out of the recording sessions, and that was a giant hit, as you said, #1 in Argentina. What was it like working with David Bowie?
Terrible. No, it was great, actually. I get on very well with him. He's a very creative man, very unusual man, incredibly talented. I think he doesn't get on with everybody, but it was great. I'd always wanted to work with him. He's one of the few people I was interested in working with. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. The only reservation was I thought the record we could have produced it a little better, but we were a bit short on time.
This is Rob Duckworth and Roger Taylor on Triple M in Roger's very own Queen Radio Gaga show. Did we say that right?
I think so.
It's close enough anyway.
This is David Bowie with Ashes to Ashes. Hi, Roger from Queen here. Well, that was our old 1975 #1 hit, Bohemian Rhapsody. And before that was In Excess, I Send a Message. That was pretty new to me, and I thought it was great. It sounded like the Thompson Twins with a decent singer. And it's great, nice production. And before that, David Bowie with Ashes to Ashes.
And this is Triple M. Roger, just before we let you get out of here,
Yeah.
thank you very much for doing the show today
Thanks
too.
for letting me. It's been a pleasure. Actually.
We've got to ask you about touring. Now, you're in Korea, in
We
Seoul,
haven't got